Hey guys, it is your girl Jade Ashley, and I want to welcome you back to a new video of When the Beat Drops. And like always, I'm here to give you my 5 hottest beats and music of this week. So of course, you got to stay tuned for more. Okay guys, so let's dive into this week's beats. So my first beat of this week, I want to talk about Rolling Loud coming to New York City for the very first time ever. And I actually was at Rolling Loud last weekend, so I feel like, this probably be interesting because I can tell you my perspective of Rolling Loud, because I was there. So pretty much, I've known of Rolling Loud for a minute. I know Rolling Loud usually would always happen in Miami, definitely during festival season and stuff like that. Right now is October. We're approaching Halloween and stuff like that, so festival season is technically over, but they brought Rolling Loud here to New York City for the first time. And I remember when I heard that they was bringing Rolling Loud to New York, I was like, New York City, or y'all trying to do that shit up like upstate? Like, I don't, because New York is a very busy city. So, like when big events and stuff like happen, it could be pretty chaotic here. But they brought it to New York City. The people at Rolling Loud reached out, was asking, if TSR went to cover and all of this other stuff. And I obviously thought it was a great opportunity, and I wanted to go because I know how big Rolling Loud is, and the fact that they're expanding to other cities outside of Miami and stuff. I was like, I am absolutely there without a doubt. So I went, and it was 2 days here in New York last weekend, which was on a Saturday and Sunday, which was I think the 12th and the 13th, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, I didn't know what to expect, but at the same time, I did kind of know what to expect, only for the simple fact that when, I've seen Rolling Loud in the past, I've seen the different artists and stuff that's gone and stuff. So I know it catered to obviously our audience's interest as far as music goes, and also my personal interest, with the different rappers and artists and all of that pop up at Rolling Loud. So when I cover events and stuff like that, I strategize for a lot of things. So you have kind of the list as far as who's going to be performing what day, what time, and all of this other stuff. So my main focus was actually to get there at a time where I can see an artist, that, our followers will want to see and everything. I had my, of course, press credential, but then I also applied to have, photo pit access. So for those who may or may not know what it's like to cover a concert or whatever, it's best to have photo pit. Even though I'm not a photographer, and although I wasn't taking photos and stuff, it's really best to have photo pit access, because that means, the stage is right there, the photo pit is right there, and then the audience is behind you. So literally you get that very front row experience. Actually, you're in front of the row if you really want to look at it that way. So, yeah, I definitely wanted photo pit access because I felt, that's definitely how I'm going to get, my best footage. And I'll enter some clips that I got and stuff like that. When I got there, the artist that was on the stage at the time, they have 3 stages. So there was the Fashion Nova stage, the Sauce stage, and the Drip stage. So when I got there, by the time I arrived at 5 something for the most part. When I got there, Blue stage was already on the Drip stage. What's his name? Slump God. I can't. I'll put his name here, but I know he. One of my favorite songs that I like from him is he did one of Missy's records Over, and he killed it. So he was on the Fashion Nova stage, which is the biggest stage, and I'm not sure who was on the Sauce stage, which was the smaller stage when I got there. But when I got there, I was pretty much just trying to get a feel of the atmosphere. I was trying to figure out where certain things was and stuff like that, because it was 3 separate stages. There was multiple performances going on at the same time, so I kind of felt like I had to, maneuver 3 different stages in this one big space, and I'm only one person. So once I pretty much got familiar with, the stages and stuff, where the VIP area and everything was at, then I was like, all right, it's time for me to start entering these photo pits and, preparing for these performances. So the first person I wanted to see was Young and May. So Young and May, she was performing on the Sauce stage, and it was some mix up with the security where they had me go in one place and then they told me I need to go there. It was a lot of unnecessary stuff that happened prior to me actually finally getting the content that I came to get. But you know, I made it back in time to the Sauce stage to see, you know, Younger May do like her last 2 to 3 songs, and you know, she had the crowd going crazy. I know she just dropped her new album, Her Story, and you know, she rep Brooklyn. Anybody, well, not anybody from Brooklyn, because 6ix9ine is from Brooklyn, and you know, but for the most part, everybody, almost everybody from Brooklyn, you know, I be trying to see them win, you know, I be here for it. So I definitely wanted to see her. Not only that, she's always been like a dope lyricist, like she's always made dope music and stuff like that. So her performance was dope. She had like a whole twerk little session going on and everything. And yeah, so after her performance, I believe it was Fabulous that came on stage after her. And then after Fabulous was Wale. I think those were like the first 3 performances I had seen that night. And like I said, because I was in the photo pit, I was literally right there. So like I'm like really standing next to the speakers. So it is so loud, it's vibrating, it's crazy. Like I was really convinced I was going to be deaf after this whole event was over. And then yeah, so Younger May put on a dope performance, Fab put on a dope performance, Wale put on a dope performance. And then after Wale, I believe that was like kind of the end of the Source stage for that night, if I'm not mistaken, because after his performance everyone pretty much just left. So now after his performance, it's time for me to go to the other side. You got the Fashion Nova stage and the Drip stage. Those are the 2 biggest stages. So I get there and Wu-Tang is performing on the Drip stage. So when I tell you, I was like, oh snap, Wu-Tang is performing, I need to get over there. I need to be in front of that stage right now. So I literally run and I'm pushing through people because, like I said, it's a really huge stage. So just imagine how big the crowd is. I'm one person and I'm trying to, you know, I had to go through the VIP entrance. I'm trying to get on the side of the stage. I'm pushing through people and I'm like, hi, yes, I'm pressed. I have photo pit access. Can you let me through? I need to get my content. So they finally let me in and I'm right there in front of the Drip stage and I look up and it's Wu-Tang. Like, I look up and it's Wu-Tang, and I was just like so happy within that moment because and I will say I feel like Wu-Tang was definitely my number one favorite performance out the weekend I should say. But they're just legends. First and foremost, anybody who knows their hip-hop history, their music history, they're just legends first and foremost. That's number one. So that's my first time ever seeing Wu-Tang. So it's just that. But then I was also explaining to somebody, right now, if you don't watch the Wu-Tang American Saga on Hulu, you need to watch it because it's so good. So it's one thing to, you know, watch your documentaries, learn your hip-hop history and all of this other stuff, but it's another thing when they kind of make a series out of it and it's more detailed, so you kind of get to get a little bit more in depth of what happened as far as like their journey, how like they formed together, how they got into the music game, where the Wu-Tang, you know, name actually came from, and all of this other stuff. So it's a dope show. I love it. And like I said, when you learn about these things as you're older, it has a different meaning versus when, you know, you were younger, you know, trying to learn and watch documentaries and stuff. So it's like right now in my life, Wu-Tang has like a different meaning to me. So as a fan of the show and as I'm like watching like their storylines kind of like play out to eventually lead to who they are and what they are to this day, I'm just looking up like, damn, I'm like, look, that's Raekwon right there, like that's Ghostface right there, Method Man. I'm telling you, he had to look at me. But Method Man is a married man, so I was just ooh. And he's old enough to be my father, so it was an amazing performance. It was a highlight. Like literally, they had ODB's son on stage with them. He jumped into the crowd and everything. Like it was crazy, and that was like legit, honestly, my highlight. And I didn't see the whole performance because, like I said, I was catching other performances. But I am so happy to get what I was able to get. I'm so happy I was able to be right there in front of the stage. I'm so happy I was like literally able to look up, and then like, you know, Ghostface and, you know, Method Man and all of, like this all right there, like literally right there. Like it was nothing but air between us. Like that was it. Like that's how close I was. So I was really excited about that. And then after that, Meek Mill performed. Meek Mill came on stage after them, so after they like prepared the stage and stuff. So Meek's performance was dope. We tried to get over to the Fashion Nova stage where Travis Scott was performing. He was like the last performer on that stage, but it was like really crazy over there. They weren't letting people in, so I couldn't even get to see Travis Scott's performance. But nonetheless, it was definitely a good first night. Definitely that Wu-Tang performance was like the cherry on top. So then day 2, I came back and, I pretty much had an agenda of who I wanted to see. The main people that I really wanted to see was definitely, I wanted to see Uzi. I wanted to see ASAP. I definitely wanted to see the Baby and Megan Thee Stallion. So I got there in time for when the Baby had just got on the stage. So, I was there the day before. So I'm like, all right, I've been here. I know what I'm doing. I know how I got to maneuver. I know where everything is at this point. So like I get there, I go through the VIP section. He was on the Fashion Nova stage, which is the biggest stage. It was earlier in the day. So it was like light outside during his performance. So I get to the side of the stage. I tell security like, hey, I'm pressed, showing them my wristbands and telling them that I can go in the photo pit. I get in the photo pit. I pull out my phone, and how the Fashion Nova stage is set up is a really big stage, but also it kind of has like a runway in the middle. So where they had press set up for the Fashion Nova stage, instead of us being directly in front of the stage, like all throughout that whole thing, it was like a section. So it was like a section to the side in the front of the stage. So when I got there, like I was right there by the speakers, everything loud, all of that. But he started walking, like a lot of his performance he did was like on that runway type thing. So with me being at the front, at the bottom, and stage being up, I technically can't see him. I can only see him off of the screens and stuff like that. So I was pretty much waiting for him to kind of walk back to like the main stage to where I could get like better footage. So like I get there and they start kicking everybody out, like the press, like everybody gotta go, it's too crowded. Granted, it wasn't crowded, but yeah, there was like only the first 3 songs, because some places they have this rule where you can only like record the first 3 songs and then after that you have to go. They did that for the Millennium Tour, but after a while they stopped like enforcing that rule or whatever. But for whatever reason, when it came to this performance for the Baby, that was it. So I literally couldn't even get anything, because it was like the minute I got in there and I'm about to start recording, he moved. So I'm waiting for him to kind of like come back so I can actually get an actual clear shot of him. And yeah, they wasn't having it. Everybody had to move. So if it was anything the Baby, I had to watch from a distance, and I just couldn't get the up close, footage that I had been getting like the day before and stuff like that. But definitely I will say that a lot of the things that you see when it comes to the Baby and his performances and stuff, like with him, like he causes that upon himself. Okay, I know they be like, oh, I'm scared his security guard gonna hit me. His security guard, I think his name is Kane. He's doing his job. He's doing an amazing job at that, because the Baby, he done jumped in the audience. Like he was like, the DJ was like, who want the Baby to jump in the crowd? I'm like, oh my gosh, she's going to stress the security guard out, because, he has to protect him. But the Baby wants to get close to his fans and stuff like that. But he gave, from what I was able to see from a distance, because they did kick us out the photo pit, was that he gave a very high energized performance. His album is dope, which I'll talk about in one of my later beats and stuff like that. But his album was dope. Other than that, I did try to like enjoy the festival within itself, because a lot of the good performances was kind of like that first day. Not that it wasn't good performances the second day, but the day before I never ate. So I wanted to eat, and me getting food took a while. I took a photo in like one of the little things. They had like a lot of like good photo like setups and stuff, kind of like BeautyCon. So but because I was by myself, I took very limited photos. Like I had to ask this lady, I was like, hi, I'm by myself, would you mind taking a photo for me? She was like, yeah, of course, and whatever. So if you follow me on Instagram, the photos that I took was from day 2, and it was like very limited and stuff like that. But then after that, it was time to get back to work. So Megan Thee Stallion was actually supposed to perform before the Baby, but on my way to MetLife, which is where it was at, she had put on her Instagram that she was performing later that night at 9 p.m. on the Sauce stage, which was a smaller thing. So I'm assuming like she missed her flight or whatever. So her whole situation had changed. So my goal was actually to definitely get Megan Thee Stallion. So ahead of time, I went over to the Sauce stage and I just wanted to be there so I didn't miss anything. Like, I didn't want the same thing that happened with the baby, I didn't want to happen with Megan Thee Stallion. So I went ahead of time. So when I got there, by the time I got to the Sauce stage, let's see, who was on stage when I got there? Pusha T was on stage when I got to the Sauce stage. So I didn't see his whole performance. I think by the time I got there, Wale was on stage with him. But Wale didn't rap or whatever. He was just kind of like, I guess he was just there to support. He just like, you know, was there. So Wale was there already on stage and stuff like that. So I kind of caught like the ending of Pusha's performance. And then after Pusha T was Jim Jones. So Jim Jones was on stage and, you know, he did some of his records. I know he had an album come out this year. So I'm assuming the records that I didn't know was the records that's on his new album. Then he did some Dipset records. Dave East popped out real quick, and then after that was Megan Thee Stallion. Megan's performance was amazing. That was my first time seeing her. There was like this energy I kept on saying that I just felt. You know, not too long ago I learned that her and I have the same birthday, February 15th. So we're both Aquariuses. So I was like, that's why I like her. You know, y'all know I've been talking about Megan. So yeah, but she gave a high energy, you know, performance and stuff like that. You know, she was bringing fans up on stage. They was twerking. There was a song that she did, I think that's new. I'm gonna have to look into that. But I believe she was a new song that she had played. She got some heat coming. But yeah, she performed all of her, you know, records off of her mixtape. And, you know, she killed it. Like, a high performance. When I tell you, like, because I was in the front, it was so many people that was on my back, like, literally just screaming and reaching for her. And I'm like, damn, I'm trying to get my content for work. Like, what's going on? But, yeah, everyone loves her. Like, she did an amazing job. Energy was crazy. So everything you see on Instagram and all of this other stuff, like, she really is like that in real life. And then she ended off her performance with, her new song All That, featuring her boo Moneybagg Yo. They did that song and that was that. Yeah, it was good. So overall, Rolling Loud was amazing. It was fun. I enjoyed. Shout outs to them for extending an invite. And yeah, so that was my Rolling Loud experience. I hope that wasn't too long of a story, because now we're gonna move on to my second beat of this week, and I have to talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is something I'm actually looking forward to every single year. It's been something that I've like written for work, like literally since I was like a intern. So like I literally get the Rock and Roll like emails and all of this other stuff. So yeah, this week Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they released the nominations for their 2020 class, and I'm gonna name the prominent people that we want to see. So first and foremost, Chaka Khan has been nominated for the 4th time. Please put Chaka Khan in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She is a living legend. You know that, term, give them their flowers while they're here. Please do it. Okay, she's a living legend. Voice is still amazing. She has classic records. She's been eligible to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for a long time at this point. So, to be eligible for a nomination, it has to be 25 years since your first commercial record, okay? It's been way more than 25 years since she released her first commercial record. So, 4th nomination, 2020, Chaka Khan has to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Other than that, first-time nominees include Whitney Houston and the Notorious B.I.G. Obviously, we know those are two legends that are no longer here, and they're obviously well-deserving. They have catalogs that, obviously outlive all of that they've done. They've left behind amazing legacies. So, obviously, I want them to be in there as well. I'm rooting for everybody black, in the words of Issa Rae. So, and this is actually Biggie's first year for being, eligible for a nomination, because his debut album Ready to Die actually came out in September 1994. So me and Ready to Die were the same age, 25. So literally this is his first year to be eligible for a nomination for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So if Biggie actually does get inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he will be the second rapper to be inducted. Tupac was the first rapper to be inducted back in 2017. So like I said, rooting for everybody black. put Shaka Khan in. You know, she's a living legend and she should have been in there. But I also want Whitney and Biggie to be in there as well. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony actually goes down, I believe, March of next year. Was March 2020. If I'm wrong, I'll put the right month or whatever. But yeah, second beat of this week. Other than that, we're going to move on to my third beat of this week. And I have to talk about Miss Teyana Taylor. She says she's having a new album come out at the end of the year. So I was actually scrolling on Twitter when I seen this. So pretty much a fan had tweeted that they were just waiting for new Teyana Taylor music, and they had used the gif, you know, of like an old person. Like, so they were sitting there saying that they're growing old, waiting for new Teyana Taylor music. And she was like that she's dropping new music, and she gave a date. She said December 6th to be exact. So she said she's dropping her new album on December 6th. So December 6th, Teyana Taylor should be dropping her third studio album. You know, unless it's a mixtape, an EP, but she said it was her album. So December 6th, Teyana Taylor has a new album coming. She hasn't released a single yet. I've been hearing that her and Kalani actually have a collaboration together. I'm not exactly sure how true that is, but I know I love me some Kalani, and you know, I'm here for it. So definitely, if there's a record, there's a video coming prior to this December 6th release date, please best believe I'm going to talk about it, because that's just sounds amazing right then and there alone within itself. But other than that, yeah, Teyana Taylor, like I've said in the past, if you've watched old videos of when the beat drops, she's slept on, okay? When her first album, 7, came out, I talked about that shit in detail. That album, slept on. Amazing music. So many songs. That should be a classic. Her first album, if y'all have not listened to that, listen to it. And then her second album, which actually came out last year, Keep That Same Energy, that was a good album too, but I will be honest with y'all and say Keep That Same Energy does not match up to the greatness of 7. I know, first of all, the album was way shorter than I expected it to be. I remember listening to it, and then when I got to the end of the album, I said, that's it? Where's the rest of it? Like, her first album was longer. That was number one. But, you know, I know at the time, like when the album dropped, she said there was some things I was missing. Like, she had some issues with what was going on with the album and stuff like that. But I know she's talented, you know. Are You Gonna Love Me? That was definitely one of the biggest records of this year and last year. So I'm excited to see what she's doing musically, actually. So let me know, comment below, are you excited for a new Teyana Taylor album? Okay? So other than that, we will move on to my fourth beat of this week, and I gotta give y'all a City Girls update. So this is actually news from last week, which I know I don't be recording like that. We'll talk about that in another video. But yeah, so just a quick update. So last week, JT was actually released from prison. She's been in jail ever since Drake dropped In My Feelings, for the most part. So that's been like, I think she got locked up like the summer 2017, if I'm not mistaken. Because I remember they went to the BET Awards. If you watch like their Point Blank Period documentary, it kind of gives you the timeline. So I know they had asked for an extension so she could go to the BET Awards that year. Yeah, I think it was 2017. BET Awards that year, and then, you know, it was right before, like right when Drake dropped In My Feelings and stuff like that. So literally, as you know, their success was climbing and it was getting more popularity, she was in jail. So like, it's like now that she's out, I think she's in a halfway house now, but she's like physically out of jail. She's just like, you know, just getting back to work for the most part, because as soon as it was announced that she was out and it was revealed that she was out of jail, she dropped her new record, JT First Day Out. And we kind of knew that she was going to be dropping a record as soon as she came out, because, you know, P and like, you know, Young Miami and stuff like that, they kind of like, you know, drop, you know, like footage or like audio clips from like phone calls from her. So she was anticipating on dropping like a really dope record when she got out, and she did. Like, she proved, like, you know, I'm that rapping bitch in this group, and she killed it. Like, it was a dope song. Definitely, a lot of rappers kind of like to, you know, as soon as they get out, they want to drop that record to just be like, ugh, bitch, I'm here. And that's exactly what she did with that record. But aside from that, I know earlier this week, TMZ actually caught up with P, who is the CEO of their record label, Quality Control Music, and they were kind of just asking, like, you know, so like, what's next now that she's out? Like, do we got a big celebration plan? And he was like, look, we about to go to the studio next week. And then it was like, all right. So he was like, yeah, expect a new album within 90 days. So I know 90 days is kind of always like his, you know, time frame or whatever, but he was saying in 90 days. So I haven't done the math. But within 90 days, which means sometime early 2020, we can expect some new City Girls music, which I'm actually excited for because it's time. It's time to get those new Instagram captions popping. Like, y'all can't even front. Like, the City Girls, they music be dope, okay? Like, they music be dope. They mixtape was dope. They album, I feel like their mixtape was better than their album, but their album has some hits on there, obviously, because you had records like Act Up, which was one of the biggest records of this year. So, I'm excited for this new City Girls music. You know, JT, from the record she dropped, she hungry. So I'm here for it. Like I said, I'm ready for the Instagram captions. I'm ready for new summer anthems, new winter anthems, spring anthems. Like, I just know they're going to bring it. Definitely that energy, especially because they spent so much time apart. That energy is going to be crazy, and that music is going to be dope without a doubt. So y'all let me know, are y'all ready for some new City Girls music? Because I know for a fact I am. The bird in me is. Yes, okay. But other than that, we will move on to my last beat of this week. And I just pretty much wanted to catch up on new music. Like I said, I don't be recording. We'll talk about that in another video. But there's been some dope new music that's released since the last time I did a video. And two people that I definitely want to talk about who released some really great music since my last video is DaBaby and Summer Walker. So DaBaby, he released his album Kirk last month, actually, which was like maybe 3 weeks ago or something like that. It was towards the end of September. At the time that he dropped his album, I was actually traveling. I owe y'all a vlog, FYI. So, but yeah, that weekend that I did that vlog, he actually dropped his new album, and I just remember listening to it, and I was like, this is dope. Like, this is a dope album, and it kind of reiterated for me that it was a dope album when I was in the gym working out to it. So I just kind of want to talk about some of my favorite songs off of that album real quick, even though, you know, the album's done its numbers and it's popular and all of this other stuff. So my favorite songs from that album is definitely Bops Vibes, Pop Star featuring Kevin Gates, Gospel featuring Chance the Rapper, Gucci Mane, and YK Osiris. Gospel, I think for me, was definitely really dope because I didn't know that he lost his dad the same time that Nipsey had passed away is when he lost his dad. So I know his dad, who's actually on his album cover. So I didn't know that him losing his dad was so recent. And in his Breakfast Club interview, he kind of talked about everything that he had to go through. Like, he was literally popping off, going, you know, #1 and stuff like that. And then he gets a call that his dad passed away. And then while he's in the midst of like grieving, he still has to, you know, make these shows, perform, go to a funeral, from a funeral, pop off, hop on this plane. Like, it was just like crazy. So he's definitely strong for that. So Gospel is the name, not The Gospel, the name of the record is The Gospel. Just listening to that record, I learned a lot about him just within that one song alone. Other than that, iPhone featuring Nicki Minaj. And then Toes, that's my shit. Featuring a Lil Baby and Moneybagg Yo. Those are my favorite songs off of his album. And then Summer Walker, her debut album, Over It. Now, Summer, she's talented. I've actually seen her like perform live. So what you hear on these records is what you gonna hear in real life, literally. So first of all, everyone loves the whole project. I didn't want to fiend. I just wanted to be kind of like in the right setting to listen to it, because I wanted to listen to it, not only just hear the music, but I wanted to hear the lyrics. I wanted to get an understanding. So actually, I listened to the album a week after it came out, which was last week. I was in a hair salon, and my braids under this weave had to dry, And if anybody who goes to the hair salon and gets their hair done with their weave, and you know that your braids gotta dry under all of this, and that means you're going to be sitting under the dryer for some time. So that was a perfect time for me to sit there and listen to the album for the first time. And it was amazing. Like, I expected, nothing less from her. Like, she did a great job, and it turns out that she became the biggest debut album, or she had the biggest debut album from a female R&B artist in the last 10 years. So I was actually happy to see that, there was an extended version of playing games with Bryson Tiller. She's known for giving you this dope record, and then she cut it off. Like, that should be so short. And you'd be like, Summer, when's the rest of the record? So I was glad to see that there was a playing games extended version on there. When she dropped her track listing, and it was like the features and stuff, I was excited to see like what these songs were going to sound like. But the one song that I was interested in hearing was Come Through featuring Usher. That is Usher, okay? Usher is in his own living right, is a living legend. He's been in this game for years, classic records, like he's just done so much. So to see that Summer Walker had an Usher feature, I wanted to know what that was like, okay? So when I finally heard the record, I promise y'all, I started smiling. The fact that she sampled, or her and London in the track, how it was a sample of You Make Me Wanna, Usher. So how they were able to flip that song, so you can still, you get that You Make Me Wanna vibe, but flip it to where it's like a whole completely new song, and then Usher comes in, and it was just freaking kudos. So that's definitely one of my favorite records off of that album. I'm here for some of the new music that's definitely dropping. Obviously, you can see it's making me happy, but those are my 5 hot beats of this week. Okay guys, so I want to thank you for tuning into this week's video, and of course I have to end every single video by reminding you guys to comment, like, subscribe, and share. It would greatly be appreciated. Now y'all know I cannot end this video without giving y'all my song of the week, and I talked about this song in my last beat, and when I tell you that this is definitely one of my favorite songs that I keep listening to right now, it's my shit. And I am referring to Summer Walker featuring Usher, Come Through. I absolutely love it. I just let y'all know in my last beat, so it was only right that I made it my song of the week. So once again, I thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll check y'all next time. So bye. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to share and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.